Learners, it's Mrs. G. Today we are going to work through Unit 7, Module 2, Session 3. And all it is a review of decimals and fractions with tenths and hundredths. So I just want to make sure you are very efficient in this process. I know we looked at it in Unit 3, and I know you've been working on it. So I'm going to start with, really today though, I want you to be aware, I'm going to give you an idea of what we're going to cover, and then I'm going to do the student book page with you. If you're comfortable at that point, you can do the student book page and then come back to this video and see how you did. The goal is still listen to me, because even if you have an understanding, I want you to become even more efficient through this process. So let's go here first, right here. So I want you to think, when we're working with fractions with tenths, hundredths, or decimals, which again is just a fraction, I want you to look at this. I want you to think money and look at this hundredths grill. So I'm going to try this team. Let's just see how this works. Looking at this grid, think it's like 100 cents. So it's actually just $1 if we're comparing it to money. So think of this as one whole dollar. If I tell you that you have one strip out of this, you know that's one. As a fraction, it's 1 out of 10, because it takes 10 strips to make one whole. 10 out of 10 would be $1, obviously, or one whole. Now, how do we look at this, an equivalent fraction out of 100? Well, that's just saying each one of these, how many is in this one strip that you represented here? Well, there's 10. There's 10 units. And instead of saying like the 10 strips up here, there's actually 100 units to this whole. And I know you've been working on this, but this is just a real quick review of it. So this 1/10 is totally equal to 10 out of 100. And as a decimal, we would write that, if you have 10 cents, we know we write it 0.1. That's 1/10, that's a 10 spot. Or this means the same thing, 0.10, 10 hundredths. Now we have no holes here, so we would just put a 0. So, and if you look at this, this is how you'd write money. 0.10, 10 cents. This, think of it as 1 dime or 10 pennies. So I just want to get that in your head before we start working through page 273. So now let's move to 273, student book page. Let me just see, where did I put it? I think it's up here. Here it is. So at this point, if you want to pause and you want to try to work through it and then come back to the video, that's fine. If you want to work through it with me, it's totally up to you. Whatever works best for you. This is your learning. Please own it. Just make sure you understand it. Also, don't get overly confident like you are way too amazing to learn this, because if anything, you will become more efficient through this process by listening. Okay, so number 1, it says use the grid below to answer the question. So thinking about the base 10 piece that we just worked through, you're looking at this as one. Oh, let me just see if I can do this. Let's just see. You're looking at this as one whole, but you don't have a whole yet because all of them aren't shaded in. I know 100 of those pieces, if 100 of those units were filled in, 100 out of 100, or if 10 strips were filled in, then we'd have one whole, or like $1. But we don't. We only have a certain amount shaded in. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6/10 filled in. I'm just going to write that up here just to, oh, my handwriting is so bad on this. Sorry, team. That's a 6. 6/10. So let's see, how many tenths are filled in? We have 6 of them. Anyway, 6 tenths. How many hundredths are filled in? Oh, how many hundredths? So if 6 out of 10, we know hundredths is talking about just the units. There's 10 per one strip. So if you have 6 of those, we would say, I put down, oh my gosh. Let me see if I can go down. How do I do it? You guys are going to watch me work through this. How do I get out of the pen? Oh, maybe this? Maybe this? Oh my goodness, I did it, but the thing doesn't move. I wonder if I can erase. I'm going to move this up here. Does this erase the whole thing? Maybe this. Yes, that erases it. Okay, so we have 6 tenths. Go back. Oh, this is kind of a pain. Sorry, team. I'll try to make it so it's like there, so you don't have to watch me erase so many times. Sometimes, well, no, always, you guys, when I make mistakes, as I teach this way, I like to keep it on here so you can see mistakes are common. You just keep going and you don't give up. All right, so we said, you guys, 6 tenths. I hope this works. I think I have it right. 6. Oh, that 6 is so much better. How many hundredths are filled in? Okay, that would be if there were 6 strips of 10. I know that means there are 60 hundredths. All right. How do you write that? Just understanding. How do you write it as a fraction? You could say 6 tenths, or that's also known equivalent, equal to 60 over 100. These mean the exact same thing. And the process, how do you write that as a decimal now? All of them mean the exact same thing. Fill in the blanks to show 2 decimal numbers that represent this amount. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there are 0 ones in both. I'm looking at this and how I read it. So this, I read 6 tenths. So look, it's just as you read it, 6 tenths. This is the order in the decimals. Now, I'm going to go out to the hundredths. How would I read that as hundredths? It would be 60, just like up above. And that is understanding a little better decimals and fractions with tenths and hundredths. So let's move down. Let's see if Miss G can do this. We're going to move down. Now we're going to work through, don't worry, I'll erase that. We'll work through number 2. Let me get rid of this. There's got to be a more efficient way. That, though, I don't know. And I'm not going to make you wait for me to figure it out. Sorry, team. All right, now let's look at this. Fill in the blanks to show 1 or 2 decimal numbers that represent each fraction or mixed number. Ooh, mixed number means you have a whole, whereas above we didn't have a whole number. We had a 0 in the, think money. We had a 0 up there, but now we have some wholes like here and C. C has a whole number 4. So think of that as like 4 ones. You know, I skipped 4 ones. How many tenths? We'll read the fraction right here, 1/10. So it looks like this. How else can we write that though? You guys looking at it out of 100? Think of this as 1 strip of 10, which means 10 hundredths, right? That's 10 units. And then the 4 would go here. 4.10 or 4 and 10 hundredths. That's C. Sorry, we skipped. I just wanted to get to a whole number. Let's go back to A. A up here, we have 0 ones. So there's no whole number there. And then how many tenths? Well, I read that fraction. It reads 3 tenths. So just like I read it, that's how it's represented. In the decimal, how do I write that? In hundredths, again, I'm imagining those strips. If I have 3 of those strips, I know each strip has 10 in it. So that would be 30 units. So 30 is equivalent or equal to 3 tenths, 30 hundredths. Moving on to B, looks like we have a whole number of 2 here, 2 and 23 hundredths. So we couldn't just write that as tenths because there are 3 extra ones in it. So we have to go out to the hundredths. 23. So like money, that's 23 out of 100 cents. We don't quite have enough for another dollar. So we write it 2.23 or 2 and 23 hundredths. Next one. I feel like my face is in the way. Let's just move it over here. So looking at this, how many ones do we have? If you were with me, I'd ask you, but I'm talking to myself kind of. So 5 ones here. And then it says 6 hundredths. This is where a lot of kids make mistakes, so don't let them get you on it. You only have 6 pennies. You don't even have 1 strip. So you actually have 0 strips here. And you only have 6 ones or pennies. So you would write it like this. 5.06, and you'd read it 5 and 6 hundredths. If you wrote the 6 in the tenths, that would mean you had 60 hundredths. So don't make that mistake. The answer to D is 5.06 or 5 and 6 hundredths. Let's move down to 3. You know it's process because Mrs. G has to click here. I have to move down. And let's see, 3. Oh, 3 is our last one anyway. So this is the last time you have to watch me clear it like this. Oh, it's so inefficient. It's all right, though. You guys are easygoing. I'm going to try to be fast. And you are going to have your work done, my loves. So this was really all you were doing today, just making sure you will really get the decimal notation and the fractions of tenths and hundredths. The good news is a lot of you fought to get it in Unit 3. So it was worth the learning. Now it makes your life even easier. And if you don't have it yet, keep going. You will. All right, so what are you guys thinking? I'm thinking my face is in the way again. Should we move it? I'm going to move this down. I have no idea what this is asking because my face. Oh, locate each decimal on the number line. Okay, let's just kind of get that right there. Okay, here's the number line. I'm looking at it 0 to 100. No, well, kind of. 0 to 100, but 0 to 1. 1 being a whole. 100 units in there. So this is one whole, thinking of strips. So that kind of means, you guys, we can look at it like this. This is a strip. This is a strip. This is a strip. So like we were looking at strips before, that's how I'd look at it. Each one representing 10. So I can kind of skip count. So here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So look it, I can see this is 6 tenths. So my 60 hundredths or 6 tenths would go right here. Okay, so locate each number on the number line. So that's 0.6, or you can write it 0.60. Notice I don't always have to put a 0 here if nothing's here. If it is a 0 and you don't have anything there, that's the same thing as 0.6. Okay, but this other one, this one right here, we read it 0.06. It's not 6 tenths. It's not 60 hundredths. It's, you read it, that 6 falls into the hundredths place. If you even look right above here. So you would just read it 6 hundredths. That means it's not even 10 out of 100. It's not even one of these jumps here. Wish I could change the color. I will. So it's not even one jump here, because that would be 10. That means I have to count each of these units. And Mrs. G is so bad. Look how close I have to get. So bad at doing this accurately, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right there. Falls right there. 0.06. Yours is going to look so much better than mine. But that's where 0.06 would fall, or 6 hundredths. So as we look at it moving across this number line, we can see which one's greater. It's clearly, and let's just change the color, it's clearly 60 hundredths. All right, so complete the two inequalities. That means these numbers are not equal. They're not equivalent. That's what inequality means. In is a prefix meaning not, so not equal. So complete the two inequalities to compare the two decimals above. Remember, the alligator mouth eats up the greater number. So for this first one, we want to put the greater decimal here. So 0.6 is greater than 0.06. And if we change it around, don't be confused. You're still eating up the greater one. So 0.6 would go here and 0.06 would go here. Let's make sure I didn't make a mistake. When I say 0.06, that means 6 hundredths. This one is 60 hundredths. And that, my dears, that is how you do page 273. You do it well and you do it efficient. Keep being awesome, team. That is all we're doing today. Let me just check to see if you have any home, well, it'll be listed on your sheet if you have home connections pages. I hope that was helpful. I'm teaching the lesson tomorrow, so I will see you then. Bye, fourth graders.